Thank you for being here this morning on a beautiful day in South Portland. My name is Robert Sellen. I'm the co-chair of Concerned Citizens of South Portland. I'm joined by David Owen. David, come on up. David is a South Portland resident and environmental law professor at the University of Maine School of Law and father of 2 young children. Maura McDonald, where's Maura? Maura, please join us. Maura McDonald is a nurse practitioner and mother here in South Portland. Art Dysinger, where's our fisherman? There he is. Art is a member of the Sebago Lake Anglers Association and a 37-year resident of South Portland. And finally, but not least by any means, is Carol Masterson, a South Portland resident, an artist, a mother of 2 young children, and a member of the board of directors of the Portland Food Co-op. We're here today to announce a citizens initiative for the November ballot. The Waterfront Protection Initiative will prevent the oil industry from building new smokestacks on the pier next to Bug Light Park and other oil infrastructure in South Portland to export tar sands oil. At its heart, this campaign is about protecting our community. South Portland residents have signed our petition. Hundreds of them have signed a petition to the City Council. That's another petition. And 63 local South Portland businesses are on record as opposing tar sands in our community. Our initiative campaign comes as the Portland Pipeline Corporation CEO, Larry Wilson, has announced that the company is, quote, aggressively looking at every opportunity to pump oil from Montreal to South Portland. When we talk about the Portland Pipeline, let's be clear about some facts. ExxonMobil's Canadian subsidiary, Imperial Oil of Canada, owns 76% of the pipeline. And the other 24% is owned by Canadian oil giant Suncor Energy. And so as this campaign heats up during the coming weeks and months, we need to remember that it's going to be ExxonMobil trying to defeat our Waterfront Protection Initiative. ExxonMobil's project is completely at odds with our city's comprehensive plan that we adopted in October of last year. And that plan guides our future. When this pipeline was built, South Portland was a very different place. Our city has been transformed over the years by the hard work of our citizens and the dedication and vision of many city councils, many meetings, many committees and staff over the past 72 years. The shipyard has transitioned to Bug Light Park. A military property, Fort Preble, has become Southern Maine Community College. SMCC is referred to here in town, and that trains our citizens in useful trades and professions. And it's located at one of the most scenic spots on our coast. Our drinking water is pure delight. Our air is cleaner. Our lighthouses, Bug Light and Spring Light Point, now attract tourists rather than saving lives, and sunbathers have replaced the concrete rubble that used to fill Willard Beach. And finally, recreational marinas have replaced the shipyard dry docks at Spring Point. So we ask all citizens of South Portland to stand together to protect our community. Please sign the petition to qualify the Citizens Initiative for the ballot and vote yes on the Waterfront Protection Initiative in November. We will not let big oil drag us backwards. We will continue to build a strong community for our children and our grandchildren. Thank you. David.
Hi, my name is Dave Owen, and in my day job, I'm an environmental law professor at the University of Maine School of Law. I'm also a South Portland resident and the father of 2 young children, and we live about a mile from Bug Light. It's one of my kids' favorite places. I'm really concerned, both as an environmental law professor and as a father, about the proposal to build these stacks and bring tar sands through South Portland. Putting these stacks here would be a very long-term commitment. They're going to be there for a long time. And during that time, they will be a new pollution source in what really ought to be and is already the crown jewel of the city's park system and one of the most scenic spots in our city. And even if nothing ever spills, which is certainly no guarantee, the towers will serve as a stark visual reminder that South Portland is ready to serve as the East Coast's tar sands port. And that would be really ironic, and it would be sad for South Portland to play that role. In my time here, the city has established itself as an environmental leader. It has the most advanced stormwater regulations of any city in this state. Its general plan aggressively promotes infill development, a sustainable growth pattern that makes a lot of sense for both economic development and the environment. Several years ago, South Portland signed on to the Mayor's Agreement on Climate Change, which makes an important commitment for the city to reduce its greenhouse gas footprint. South Portland has also actively supported economic development, including new industrial development. And I think that is entirely appropriate and good. But at least in recent years, South Portland has done this and has a strong track record of trying to balance economic growth and environmental protection in sensitive ways. To become the East Coast tar sands port, perhaps the continent's tar sands port, would be a huge step backward, a move toward the dirtiest forms of industrial development. And that's a step that I hope the city and its leaders and its citizens will do everything in their power to prevent, first and foremost by passing this ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me to participate. My name is Maura McDonald. I am a nurse practitioner, and I've been asked to speak today about my perspective on ExxonMobil's tar sands proposal and what is at stake for South Portland. From a healthcare standpoint, this is a potentially dangerous proposition by all accounts. Specifically, however, I would like to address two areas of concern. These include the nature of tar sands oil and its impact on air quality and public health. There are distinct and significant differences between tar sands oil and conventional oil. Tar sands oil contains significantly higher concentrations of ultrafine particles known as polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. These materials are known to penetrate cells, disturb cell function, and cause respiratory and reproductive dysfunction. Additionally, they have been shown to disrupt both immune system function as well as human DNA coding. Tar sands oil, or bitumen, is thicker and more acidic than regular crude oil. It contains 11 times more heavy metal concentration than conventional oil, and because it is dense and viscous, it must be diluted with additional toxic chemicals in order to be pumped. I am not convinced that there is any safe level of exposure to the chemicals that may be involved in the process of transporting this unconventional synthetic oil product. My second concern involves impact on air quality. Infrastructure changes in South Portland would be required in order to transfer tar sands oil for export. Pier 2 near Bug Life Park would serve as the port facility for this transaction. 2 sizable smokestacks would be required in this location to permit the output of both heat and vapor emissions that are involved in the offloading process. These smokestacks are needed to burn off toxic polluting chemicals as the tar sands is loaded onto tankers. The structures would emit dangerous pollutants known as VOCs, or volatile organic compounds. VOCs react with other chemicals in sunlight to form ground-level ozone, commonly known as smog. Smog can trigger asthma attacks, as well as other respiratory and cardiovascular problems. I am also concerned about the proximity of these tar sands facilities to the 8 public and 1 private school located in South Portland. Additionally, nearly 5,000 children and 27,000 adults in Cumberland County alone suffer from asthma. South Portland and Cumberland County already have work to do to improve air quality. Just this year, the county received a grade of C from the American Lung Association for its smog levels. The Portland pipeline is already a significant source of VOCs in South Portland. these new smokestacks would increase this dangerous source of air pollution further. In addition, the smokestacks would be highly visible from important scenic locales including Bug Light Park, Willard Beach, SMCC, and the Portland waterfront. Their presence would have a significant negative impact on the scenic beauty of South Portland coastline, further impacting public health. Finally, an integral component of the proposal requires that the flow of this unconventional oil be reversed from its current south to north direction. This reversal would require additional pumping infrastructure to be built in South Portland. Combined, these changes could leave the city of South Portland, as well as landscapes and communities across Maine, vulnerable to oil spills. The Montreal to Portland pipeline comes within 1,000 feet of Sebago Lake, which provides pristine drinking water to Portland and its surrounding communities. When tar sands oil spills, toxic chemicals are released and the oil sinks into the water, making environmental and public health consequences far greater and cleanup vastly more difficult and costly. In summary, we are fortunate to live in an area where we enjoy easy access to an environment unusually gifted with natural, life-sustaining qualities. Tar sands and its associated industrial uses have the very real potential to seriously jeopardize our quality of life and health. From my perspective as a healthcare professional, the red flags associated with tar sands oil and the changes that South Portland would be required to accept to accommodate its presence here far outnumber the green flags. This compels me, and I hope it compels you, to critically question its presence among us. I am proud to be associated with a group of local concerned citizens who are working to ensure that the residents of South Portland will remain informed about this and will be able to determine their own decisions about it. I hope you will join us in considering these impacts seriously and in supporting the ordinance to protect South Portland. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Art Dysinger. I'm a member of the Sebago Lake Anglers Association, and I've lived here in South Portland for 37 years. I recently retired from the U.S. Postal System. Sebago Lake has for generations been one of Maine's best family destinations. I know I've spent many days fishing there with my family at Sebago Lake. I fish a lot in Kettle Cove at the northern edge of Sebago Lake, in the Muddy River area, really all over the lake, because Sebago Lake offers really good fishing. It is, after all, one of the most pristine lakes in the whole country. One spot I fish is along Jordan River, which flows directly into Sebago. The spot is very close to where the old Portland-Montreal pipeline crosses under a cove of Sebago Lake. I hate to think what would happen to that fishing spot and the fish and other wildlife that rely upon it. If tar sands oil spilled into it, as much as I love fishing, it's even more alarming to imagine what the rupture would do. Rupture in the 63-year-old pipeline would mean to South Portland's drinking water supply, the water I and my family rely on every day. By my estimate, the intake pipes of the Portland Water District are about 5 miles south of this cove. The Jordan River is a fast-moving stream which connects the outlet to Sebago Lake from Panther Pond, a popular swimming place for Maine families. A tar sand spill in Sebago Lake is almost unthinkable. The project is not worth the risk it poses to our fisheries and our drinking water. I know Sebago Lake would never go back to what it was today. The pipeline crosses the Crooked River 6 times. The Crooked River is a major tributary to Sebago Lake. The Crooked River provides 40% of Sebago Lake's water supply and is the principal spawning grounds for landlocked salmon. We need to learn from the massive tar spills that recently happened in Michigan's Kalamazoo River. and in Mayflower, Arkansas. More than 2 months after ExxonMobil's 60-year-old Pegasus pipeline burst and spilled tar sands in a residential neighborhood in Mayflower. The disaster is still unfolding, and there is a real concern that tar sands has gotten into a marsh on Lake Conway, the state's most popular fishing destinations. If the anglers of that region were here today, I bet they would tell us the pipeline project's not worth the risk. Learn from our terrible situation. The Sebago Lake Anglers Association is committed to protecting the fishing habitat of Sebago Lake and the Crooked River. Protecting habitat is crucial to protecting clean drinking water here in South Portland and throughout Greater Portland. Last December, the Sebago Lake Association voted to oppose Last December, Sebago Lake Anglers Association passed the first resolution in Maine opposing using old pipelines to pump tar sands through Maine to a port here in South Portland. As a resident of South Portland, I wholeheartedly support the citizens' initiative to protect what is so dear to me and my family. I urge everyone in South Portland to sign this common sense petition. Pumping tar sands through Sebago Lake's watershed is a major threat to our fisheries, drinking water, property values, and the ability to continue to enjoy all that Sebago Lake has to offer for generations to come. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Carol Masterson. I'm from South Portland, and I've brought my children with me today. This is my daughter Pippi, and as you can see, Spider-Man has joined us today. Spider-Man is here because he too wants to fight tar sands. It's good to know that we have a superhero on our side. This issue of tar sands oil terrifies me. I am deeply concerned that tar sands will be transported through our community, threatening our children, environment, air quality, and water supply. I've been working with a grassroots South Portland group called Concerned Citizens of South Portland to develop the Waterfront Protection Ordinance, which, if passed in November, will prevent tar sands oil from coming into South Portland. All of us care deeply about the health and well-being of our community. I hope that everyone in South Portland will take the time to learn about the dangers of tar sands oil and join our effort to keep our community safe. Tar sands is diluted with toxic chemicals such as benzene to thin it out so that it can flow through a pipeline. These chemicals have to be burned off in South Portland and would be emitted from two 70-foot smokestacks near Buglight Park. When asked to list the chemicals added to the tar sands oil, the oil industry has replied that it is proprietary information. I don't understand why we would be expected to breathe chemicals that we aren't even allowed to know the names of. Where I live with my family, we would be in the line of fire, so to speak. Our house is very near Willard Square. If the city of South Portland were to allow tar sands to be transported through our community, there is a great likelihood that we would have to move. As a mother, I cannot risk the threat of a toxic spill either in our area or near our drinking water source, Sebago Lake. Nor do I want my children and others in our community to be inhaling toxic fumes on a regular basis. This not only affects our home, but the school that my daughter attends, small school, also near Willard Square. I also have significant concerns about tar sands in general. They contribute greatly to global warming and climate disruption. The more I learn, the more frightened I am about the proposal to transport tar sands through this beautiful state and our beautiful community here in South Portland. The risks are too great. South Portland should continue to be a safe and vibrant community where families can drink clean water, breathe clean air, and enjoy our special places like Willard Beach, Bug Light Park, and Casco Bay. Let's pass this ordinance to protect public health, the environment, and our economy from the impacts of shipping tar sands oil to South Portland through the aging Portland-Montreal pipeline. Please, for my children and for yours, we need to keep the water that they drink and the air that they breathe safe from toxic tar sands oil. One final thought. There is a simple and fun way that we can be less dependent on ExxonMobil and other companies in the oil industry who do not mind contaminating our community, and that is to get out of our cars and get on our bikes. I'm wondering if Spider-Man has a few final words to say to the oil industry.
I want to go.
All morning, Spider-Man has been saying, "Your evil plan will fail." Thank you.
Well, let's hear it for all of our speakers this morning. Thank you. Now we will open it up to questions from the media. Please identify yourself and your media outlet before asking your question.
I'm Marty McLean from NECM. How many signatures do you need to collect?
Marty, we need valid signatures 950. We're clearly going to collect more than that because every now and then if something's illegible or someone's changed their location.
Thank you.
Vivian Lee from Channel 6. Is the
Hi,
exact
Vivian.
Hi, how are you? Is the exact wording already set up? Have you got all the wording for the ordinance?
Yes, you should have a copy in your press packet of the full ordinance. Every word.
Jack Flagler from the Century newspaper. Have other communities along the route of the pipeline in Maine or Vermont tried to have similar citizens initiatives, or as far as you know, are you the first?
Well, I believe we are the first citizens initiative. The state of Vermont has held that reversing the pipeline is a significant change of use, and it falls under their law 250. So they're going to have to do a complete environmental review of this proposal. And Maine does not have a law 250, but we do have, thanks to our wonderful charter here in South Portland, a people's initiative. And we're going to carry that forward to protect jobs, protect the community, protect our health. By the way, along the pipeline in Raymond and other communities, there have been community votes condemning this plan. So they're not going to have an impact on the local ordinance as this initiative will.
If the initiative passes, how much weight will it have? Could the pipeline try to go around it in court, or do you have confidence that this will stand?
The question is, if this passes, and we're confident it will, because the community is behind us, it's a community initiative. The pipeline or ExxonMobil may well try to challenge us in court. It has to do with land use and the ability of a community to control land use within its community, and that's a very defensible position. And we feel if we do face a legal challenge, we will certainly prevail with this initiative and the ordinance that will come out of it.
Would the city have to join in that effort, or you guys take on Exxon on your own as a group? If it
Thank
comes
you.
to that.
Well, if we pass it as an initiative, it then becomes, as I understand it, part of the ordinance, and that would involve the city as well as us. It's the people that have spoken, and in changing the zoning ordinance to be consistent with the general plan of the city. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much for your questions. And with that, I want to again thank our speakers this morning, thank the city of South Portland, thank the press and all in attendance, and remind you all of petition gathering opportunities. We have a table. Carolyn is ready to sign you up for short stints at petition gathering. You must be a registered voter in the state of Maine. You don't necessarily have to be from South Portland, but you must be a registered voter. And you can only sign up registered voters in the city of South Portland. But Carolyn can fill you in on all of that. So our gathering opportunities start this Saturday at Willard Beach at 9 a.m. You can get more information at the table right here. And we want to invite everyone to come to a big party this afternoon starting at 4 p.m. It's going to be at the South Portland Community Center starting at 4. There's going to be lots of neighbors, lots of friends, refreshments, food, and good conversation and organizing to collect the signatures that we need to collect in a very short time.
When do you need to collect them by?
We need to the city clerk has asked us to submit these signatures on the 17th of June. So we want to do that if we can. Yes, sure. This is Roberta Zuckerman, by the way.
Hi, I'm part of the Concerned Citizens of South Portland. Regarding the question about other towns doing something like this, having an initiative, there are other towns, like Rob mentioned, that have voted that they are against having tar sands going through their towns. But South Portland is the only city or town that where we have any leverage because of the necessity for the smokestacks to be built here and the other infrastructures, and that really is where the possibility of having an impact lies. So it really there's a lot resting on what South Portland does at this point in time.
Thank you, Roberta. So, once again, we invite everyone to come to our community get-together kickoff party starting at 4 p.m. at the community center. And with your support, we will gather enough votes to qualify the People's Waterfront Protection Initiative for the November ballot. So in closing, let's be clear about one crucial fact. Ready, kids? Ready? South Portland stands against tar sands. South Portland stands against